Greetings, I'm Shirley Fry McConaughey, and I'm an artist from North Carolina, and I'd like to share an adventure with you. It began in the fall of 1993 when Morris Schaefer and Luana Fresco helped me to stage an auction of my artwork at Morris's home. We auctioned off eagles, sunflowers, paintings, herons, iguanas, sloths, and tropical trees. The goal had been to raise enough money to send me to Costa Rica for a month to teach soft sculpture to indigenous and Afro-Caribbean women. By the end of the day, we had raised enough for travel expenses, living expenses, and about $2,000 worth of sewing materials. I arrived in San Jose, the capital of Costa Rica, on September 28th, where I was met by Pamela Navarro, my local contact for the project. She is the owner of a bed and breakfast on the Caribbean coast. We drove from San Jose through the Central Plain with its sugarcane and coffee fields, then through the cloud forest to the coastal plain and its miles of banana and coconut trees. Reaching Limon on the Caribbean Sea, we turned south on the only road that runs along the coast to Panama. Pamela's bed and breakfast, Miraflores Lodge, is about halfway between Puerto Viejo and Manzanillo, the last town on the road. The two nearest structures are Roy's Fish Restaurant and the Pulperia, our local grocery store. The B&B is run by Pamela and Lauren. Liliana does the cooking, and Pablo and Juan take care of the garden and stand guard. The house is styled like most in the area, open to the elements with mosquito-netted sleeping areas. I began my teaching project with a 2-week morning session on the Cacolde Indian Reservation. Gloria Mayorga has a house on the edge of the reserve where the people have begun an iguana farm. Their goal is to restock the rainforest with iguanas and eventually raise them for food. At present, there are thousands of iguanas, from eggs hatching to week-old, 2-year-old, 5-year-old, at which point they are released into the wild. At the entrance to the iguana farm is a rancho, which is to become their gift shop. Here we held our classes, making soft-sculpted green iguanas that they could sell to the tourist, since the farm has become a major local tourist attraction. It was here that Irma Stein, a quilter from Pittsboro, North Carolina, joined me for 2 weeks. With Irma's help, everyone completed a medium iguana, plus several small iguanas, and one large 6-footer. All were done by hand, since there is no electricity on the reserve. During the afternoon, for the first 2 weeks, we journeyed about 15 miles down to the southern end of the road to a tiny village named Manzanillo, which is backed up to the Gandaka National Wildlife Refuge. The houses of the town faced the road and the Caribbean Sea. At one end of the road was a restaurant and a bar, and at the other end, the school. The teacher, Herman, opened the school doors to our project and participated in the classes. He told us that following the earthquake, school classes had been held for 2 years on the beach under a plastic tarp. But finally, during 1993, the new school had been finished and had opened its doors. The children of the village have no crayons or paints to draw pictures, so they use flowers, crushing them on the paper to produce the colors. Every afternoon as we were working away on red snappers, leatherback turtles, and hummingbirds, the green parrots would come down from the mountains and settle in the coconut trees around the school. The first scouts would arrive about 4:05, with the largest group coming in about 4:15, squawking so loudly that one could barely think, Mother Nature's timepiece striking the hour. The people of Manzanillo are largely Afro-Caribbean and Indian mixtures. We had a total of 21 ladies, 2 boys, and 1 man working with us. Each completed a fish, a turtle, and a bird, common to their area, plus a small historic quilt to commemorate the beginning of El Grupo de Artisans de Manzanillo. The third teaching project was a weekend on the Bree Indian Reservation in the heart of the rainforest, reachable only by a dugout ride across the Sixola River. We had received permission from the chief to work with a newly organized group of young women in Cerrito. We arrived early on a Saturday morning at the schoolhouse shortly before the rains began to fall. The school was about 8 years old. The teacher was trying to preserve the Bree language and customs as well as fulfilling the curriculum requirements from San Jose. There were about 50 children educated in the one-room schoolhouse with no electricity or running water, a cafeteria next door, and an outhouse in the back. The women's group was small, about 15 members, but they all brought their eldest daughters, who struggled valiantly with the hummingbirds, morpho butterflies, heliotrope blossoms, and miniature sunflowers. And I was told that I was the first person to ever come in to teach them anything. We slept over that night in the school, and after a breakfast of coffee and Indian fry bread, began Sunday session at about 7:30 a.m., concluding around 12:30. At that time, we moved into the cafeteria, where the women had cooked up a feast: rice and beans, meat stew, boiled plantains, and hot chocolate. All of the Indians cooked on fireboxes, a boxed, raised platform filled with dirt, topped by a small wood-burning fire, and 2 metal bars across on which they placed their pots and pans. The dishwashing areas were window extensions with slatted shelves to allow the water to run outside onto the ground. That afternoon, we hired one of the 2 pickups that provided bus service for the reserve and took several of the women and children up the road to Ambir, the ancient capital, then on to the Bree Cultural Center with a 30-foot replica of a traditional Bree house, and finally to the Coquis River and the end of the road. The final teaching project was a 2-week afternoon session in Puerto Viejo, the largest town on the southern coast. There was a grocery, a gift shop, a bus stop, several small houses, a recycling center, and a schoolhouse. We met in a community center behind the school, approximately 25 of us, racially and linguistically mixed, 4 languages: Spanish, English, Kukoldi, and Jamaican patois. We began with hummingbirds, then went on to heliconias and flying toucans. The heliconias, which are related to the banana family, are the wildflowers on the edge of the rainforest, and some feel that they guard the forest. The wonderful colors of the heliconias showed up at the goodbye gathering at Miraflores Lodge, when delegations from each of the 4 groups gathered with their work to show what we had done, from iguanas and leatherback turtles to morpho butterflies and flying toucans. We had worked hard, stumbled over languages, laughed a good deal, learned new skills, and made some new friends. The Bree and Concoldi ladies decided to start working together on several projects. 2 Concoldi ladies took my classes for the full month and had started developing patterns of their own. Orders had already started coming in for the green iguanas. There were shops in San Jose interested in other orders. A cooperative had organized in Manzanillo. Supplies were found in Bree, and a women's group in San Jose wanted to help the ladies obtain more supplies. 78 women, men, and children had been taught the delights of creating fabric replicas of their own favorite birds, reptiles, and flowers. And with the growing tourism of the area, we had struck a blow for the economic future of the local people. A delightful month, very well spent.